Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 213 of the Bench Podcast. On today's show, Super Bowl preview.
Super Bowl!
Our final thoughts before Super Bowl 59, as well as our final picks.
Oh, man.
I think I know who I'm going to pick.
I literally won't know until they ask me.
Let's do it. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bench Podcast. My name is Joey, joined, as always, by my brother co-host, Angel. Happy Super Bowl weekend,
Happy
my
Super Bowl
friend.
weekend. I'm full in Super Bowl mode. I'm following stuff on Twitter about Super Bowl commercials. I have my prop bets already set. I have the game preview like crazy. It's just like it's like Christmas for football fans.
Maybe because maybe because my team's in it. Like you are way more in tune with like the stuff going on around the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Obviously, if like the Broncos were in it, I'd be a different mindset. But I can enjoy like the whole vast
you're a Kendrick fan, so you're pumped about the halftime show.
And then there's trailers. There's like Super Bowl trailers.
Oh,
previews.
Right. What big movie trailers are?
Well, there's like a Superman one. There's a bunch of stuff that like there was like commercials.
Another Superman.
You know, there's like trailers for trailers.
Yep.
So a couple of those I'm looking forward to. The Kick of Destiny again. It's Peyton Manning versus Eli Manning.
Are they actually going to kick?
I don't really know if that was surreal or not, but I just like watching it.
I wonder if it's going to be that weird pregame recorded thing.
Yeah, where they kind of already know.
Yeah.
You could bet on it. And then the prop picks for the Super Bowl.
I'm into that for sure.
I put 3 on TikTok, like the ones that I'm for sure betting on.
Yeah, check out all the social media. A lot of content went up this week.
Yeah.
Super Bowl content. Over at producer's desk, single barrel action. Andrew at the controls today. Raider fan extraordinaire.
Just a polite pistol.
Polite pistol.
Yeah.
Just
a polite pistol.
Oh, my God. Did we just name Andrew?
Polite pistol.
Andrew Rodriguez, a.k.a. the polite pistol?
Yeah.
Oh, my
the
God.
polite pistol.
I like that.
I'm okay with that.
Andrew, you have any money on the game?
I'm actually thinking, I'm going to play some money on
Do
the
it,
game.
my guy.
Yeah, I'm going to play some money. I'll talk about it later on who I'm picking, but I got some money on it.
For sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of over-unders, a lot of bets. You could bet on anything.
A lot of good ones, man.
Go on those betting apps. You could bet literally anything.
Speaking of which, right now in the description of this video is a link to the BETR Picks app, one of our sponsors. Go ahead and click on that if you want to get involved in the action this weekend. Listen, it's Super Bowl weekend. If you're not going to bet on football this weekend, then you're just not going to bet on football. You're just not one of those fun guys. Download the BETR Picks app. Use our code BENCHD. If you do, on your first deposit, BETR Picks will match up to $250 of your initial deposit. That's just free money to bet with, free money to win more money with. I mean, why not?
Yeah, and then for teams like me or for guys like me whose teams aren't in the Super Bowl, makes watching the game even. It's already be awesome, but even more fun because I'm cheering for over under Hopkins 1.5 catches,
Right.
Pacheco 1.5 catches. There's a bunch of bets that I like.
Speaking of which, I have the 2 most popular player props of the Super Bowl in front of me now. The most popular player prop, that is according to number of bets placed on this one, is Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert over 48.5 receiving yards.
Interesting.
He had more than 48.5 receiving yards in just 6 of 13 games this season, and it's including the playoffs. But 99% of people who put money on that bet the over. So a lot of people thinking Goddard over 48%, no problem.
So bet the
48
under.
yards. Would you?
No, I would just go opposite of everybody else.
I don't think that gets you anything though. I think it's a prop.
I just want to be different. I just want to be special. Props. There's Vegas is so good at calling these numbers.
Yeah,
the more you dig into it, you're more like, this is a really good number. It's hard to do that. Like DeAndre Hopkins has 1.5 catches. That's his prop.
That's tough.
But then you're like, he could just goose it. Then you get in your head like it's Hopkins.
You totally goose egg you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Andrew,
weird. 48.5 yards for Dallas Goedert.
Oh, yeah, I'm going over.
You going over on that?
I'm going over on that.
That's the second most popular one is Chiefs rookie receiver Xavier Worthy rushing yards. Over 4.5 rushing yards. 99% bets are over. That's just one end around, basically.
Yeah, I'm not betting against that one. I'll bet over.
Really?
Takes one end around,
like
you said.
Take that one.
Yep.
It's just a play that they have so many. First of all, they have other guys they can run that to.
Yeah.
You know, they run it to like basically like what almost every receiver they have.
Everyone but Hopkins.
Yeah. So
or Juju.
I don't know, man. I probably wouldn't take that one, but 99% of people are. I feel like the we're all expecting the Chiefs to do that.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Andy Reid, I don't know. Andy Reid's such a freaking
I'm just waiting for the
chess player.
Just waiting for the red zone package. Like their answer to the tush push is gonna be some weird formation shit.
We're gonna get into our final thoughts before the Super Bowl here in this episode. Before we do that, NFL Honors was this week, and we're not going to get completely into it on this episode.
Yeah.
We're going to say that for the first episode after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When we're kind of like either I'm in mourning or
Yeah.
I'm very excited. But MVP,
MVP?
kind of surprised there. That's probably the only surprise, right?
Yeah, they messed this one up.
Oh, save your thoughts.
They messed it up.
It is very interesting.
They fucked it up.
I just don't understand like what the logic is. It's not stats. It's not winning. It's not like what?
Yeah, here. I'll break it down really
Yeah.
quick. I'm thinking about it all day. He ended up in the same spot he ended up last year, not beating Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Less touchdowns, so rewarding him for throwing less picks. That's why we're rewarding him.
And that's if you're just measuring him against himself.
Because
Then you start measuring him against Lamar Jackson. You're like,
No.
I really don't understand how you
measure him against Bo Nix, and Bo Nix has better numbers than no.
Okay.
No. Watch. Okay, here. Joe Burrow, right? Joe Burrow didn't even get close to it.
Yeah.
43 touchdowns, 9 picks.
Yeah.
To Josh Allen's 28 and 6. I know there's 12 rushing touchdowns, but Joe Burrow made up for that in passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow got wasn't even thought of for getting MVP.
You're right.
And don't get me, Lamar Jackson was incredible. How do you have those numbers?
That's what my thought. My first initial thought was, well, if it wasn't going to be Lamar Jackson, then to me it had to be Saquon Barkley.
Saquon, yeah.
Yeah, if we're doing like storylines, then Saquon Barkley.
Well, not even storylines. He is even in retrospect now, he actually even now, I choose Saquon over Lamar because he's actually was the most valuable player. He's literally carried the Eagles to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like in the playoffs too. Yeah, we'll talk about it on the next show. But
Andrew, are you cool with the Josh Allen MVP selection?
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
I right when I saw it, I was just like,
yeah.
Did he really?
I don't think he's the best player in the NFL.
Did you see that one report where one of the writers put Lamar Jackson as 4th?
That's insane.
Stupid ass shit. We'll talk. Let's
crazy.
Let's the Super Bowl. This is ridiculous.
Let's final thoughts for the Super Bowl. Let's do it. All right, time for our final thoughts before Super Bowl 59. Last time we'll get to address the masses.
Yeah, the big dance.
And I feel like it's perfect timing because those things, like you take the big broad scope when the Super Bowl matchup is first, as soon as we first knew Eagles-Chiefs, our mind just went everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce,
Saquon Barkley.
The defenses for sure. But now I feel like at this point, the final couple nights or maybe the night before, whenever you're watching this, before the Super Bowl, it's kind of narrowed down to I'm really worried about this thing for this team and this thing about this team. That's what we're going to get into today. The real final thoughts that we're going to be looking into going into this game. Do you want to get us started?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, the first thing you think about the Eagles is Saquon Barkley, and Spags obviously has been praised, and rightfully so. He's four championship titles, three with
Most everybody,
three with Kansas City, one with the Giants, both as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But if you look into this year's stats against the Chiefs versus star running backs or star quarterbacks, it's not as great as you thought. So if you read the blanket stats, the Chiefs are top 10 in rushing yards allowed per game, rushing touchdowns allowed, right? But if you look against Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry week 1, a combined 168 yards rushing allowed, 1 touchdown, average 5.8 yards per carry.
Good news to me as an Eagle fan.
Not great. Then against Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, so a team that obviously runs the ball.
Yeah.
145 yards, 0 touchdowns, but 6.1 on the ground.
Yeah.
They had a run against Bijan Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, and Jordan Mason where they allowed 0 touchdowns, but those aren't elite.
Yeah.
But what gets me is we just get into these playoff stats. Joe Mixon, that was a close game. That wasn't a blowout. Texans Chiefs. Mixon, 18 carries, 88 yards, one touchdown. Last week, Josh Allen, James Cook, probably a tier below Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley as far as combos. Obviously not as great as them. A combined 23 rushes, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So and then just at the quarterback. So Josh Allen against them, 11 carries, 39 yards, and Lamar Jackson, 16 carries, 122 yards. What I don't like, if I'm a Chiefs fan, is how bad they are at stopping running quarterbacks, and especially running quarterbacks who have a good running back like James Cook and Josh Allen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Josh Allen. So you dig into these stats. Yeah, the Chiefs are good, obviously, good defense, and then you see top 10 in most stats. But when they go against elite guys, elite playmakers, and all those guys who I just named are great. None of them are Saquon Barkley. None of them ran for 2,000 yards. None of them have this offensive line. None of them has to have Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, they're combined 9 touchdowns. The two, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. Saquon had a 17-yard touchdown last week. This is the over is what, 1 for Saquon's rushing yards is 1.
On better picks, it's 115.
Over. That's going to lean towards my decision on who I'm picking. I think Saquon absolutely destroys this Chiefs team because they haven't done it this year against an elite running back and quarterback combo. Like, literally all season. Like, you go through game by game. They got these top 10 stats because they shut down Jordan Masons and J.K. Dobbins and early on Bijan Robinson when they weren't letting him have the entire carries like week 2 or 3. It just not like, okay, like they have the Kamara game, 11 for 26. Jerome Ford had that one big run, but then that was it. So, like, it's skewed, obviously, but against the elite playmakers, they're just not the same.
I don't know where you have the Hurts-Saquon combo, but if it's not 1, then it's probably 2.
I had them above everybody that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking to you generally. I'm talking to anyone who's listening. I don't know where you have Saquon and Hurts combo, but if it's not 1, it's 2 behind Lamar and Henry, however you have that. All that to say, this is as good as you're going to face against anyone.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs, they have been dynamic, both Hurts and Saquon running the ball. I can even mentally right now seeing huge Jalen Hurts runs. Obviously, Saquon's been phenomenal, multiple just massive runs. And so hearing that, and now we've kind of dove into this more over the week, has gone kind of like discovering like, oh, there's a chink in the armor here of the Chiefs defense, and that's stopping the run. Oh, it's also stopping running quarterbacks. Yeah. That's why I think that gives me a lot of confidence as an Eagle fan. I think Jalen Hurts could probably be counted on as pretty healthy this week. Last week people were kind of concerned about that. Yeah. And he ran all over the Commanders. So I think this week I feel pretty good about that as well. And definitely something I have my eyes on because of, I don't know who brought it up earlier in the week on the show, but you got to imagine that is like enemy number 1 for Spags in that defense. Yeah. We're going to go and we're going to attack this run blitzes, whatnot, however he's going to do it. He obviously is one of the most creative coordinators in the league. You got to imagine Spags that's number 1. He's going to stop the run. Maybe it's loaded boxes. I don't know how he's going to do it. So that, to me, is like, I think might be the whole game hinging on that.
Yeah, because like Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Josh Allen, James Cook, teams that obviously ran the ball. And at that time, it was Russell Wilson playing for Pittsburgh, but he still had 55 yards rushing. Yeah. So it's like their one chink in the armor, great defense, is the running quarterback option, which is what the Eagles do the best. Hurts had 14 rushing touchdowns this year, right? 14 rushing. Right. That's where like you dig into the numbers. Chiefs are great, but that's a little bit lopsided. It's a little bit skewed, a little asterisk on there as far as top 10.
If we take a little more detailed look at this, 2 things come to mind. The Chiefs are the number 1 by metric tackling defense in the league. Yeah. They're the best tackling defense when you look at the advanced stats. They obviously those linebackers and phenomenal tacklers, those kind of things. Saquon has made an entire MVP season out of breaking tackles. Yeah. So is that going to happen? The second thing, a lot of people, I mean myself included, this is one of the best offensive lines, I think, in NFL history. Like the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles is athletic, it's massive, and now it's healthy. And so with Dickerson and Jurgens putting in multiple full practices, that's going to be, to me, like that's the contest. Yeah. You have the best tackling, defense, but for sure front 7 versus this maybe all-time offensive line, a real strength on strength. Both have played in big games, very experienced, vets on both sides, young bucks on both sides. Like that is going to be, if you love football, this is a matchup where you're like this is why we watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Also, I feel like I won't tell you who I'm picking, but I don't know if I pick the right one off of the first drive. If who wins the line of scrimmage, I feel like it's going to be, might be just bully ball. Eagles, as much as I like the Chiefs, Chris Jones and Karlaftis and Spags, obviously, like you said, this offensive line is the real deal, and they're healthy. I mean, they're as healthy as anyone is going to be. Everyone's hurt. Yeah, it's just different when you go against them and Saquon. So if it was just Saquon, it's fine, but it's them and Saquon.
So let me segue that into one of my first keys of the game, and that is, can the Eagles lean on that early and grab a lead? Because that's been the calling card for Eagle fans and Eagle analysts throughout the playoffs. And when we can play with a lead and just let Saquon be that closer, we're next to unbeatable. Yeah. Let me give you some second half numbers for Saquon Barkley. If you just took his second half numbers this year, he has rushed for 1,200 yards, almost 7 yards a carry, and 8 touchdowns. That's what the Eagles want to do. In that second half, let's lean on this offensive line. Let's give the ball to the best running back in the league, and let's put this game away.
Yeah.
And we've seen over and over again. We saw it in person at that Rams game.
Yeah.
The second half, it was kind of close in the first half, and then okay, we got a lead. Let's lean on Saquon, and he put the game away.
Yeah.
And we've seen that over and over again. But not only is it Saquon, Jalen Hurts also has been phenomenal in the second half. Through the air, he's taking care of the football. Only 2 touchdowns all year, only 2 interceptions all year in the fourth quarter. Just 2, as opposed to, I think, 6 touchdowns, as opposed to 6 touchdowns. So a 6-2 in the fourth quarter, 107 passer rating in the fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts' greatness this season and this playoffs has been taking care of the football.
Yeah.
If there's one, which is really funny because
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year, we're like, Jalen Hurts has a problem, and that's taking care of the football.
He did. Now it's
He
just
definitely did.
like the polar opposite.
Yeah.
And then you throw into the fact that Jalen Hurts takes care of the football. He also becomes a very lethal runner, specifically in the red zone. This year, 10 touchdowns in the second half alone, rushing. 10 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts in the second half alone.
Crazy.
When you put that combo of Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts in the second half, and they have a lead, and they can just ground and pound and be more physical than you, it's tough. It's going to be tough to win. So, to me, can they grab a lead early and have a lead, at least 1 or 2 touchdowns in the second half? I think that greatly increases their chances of winning.
Yeah. That's crazy, that 1,200 yards in the second
Half alone.
Yeah, he's
7 yards a carry.
He's just a great running back with a great offensive line. So sometimes you have good defenses like the Chiefs do, but you just go against the wrong team.
Right.
That's what it's kind of feeling like. We're good at certain things, but what we're good at, this team is great against that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I want to get into my picks so bad.
Not
but
yet. Hold it back.
No, because just going through numbers, honestly, Mahomes versus this team. What's his name? Fangio's 1-7 against Andy Reid.
Right.
That's scary. Well, Fangio was head coach for Denver Broncos. Then he was with Miami. So you kind of discount the Miami thing because Mike McDaniel was a bad head coach, and then Fangio was a bad head coach when he was playing. Okay. But still, it's that I was going to lean that way, but I'm like, if Saquon, the ultimate thing with the Chiefs is don't give him the ball back.
Right.
I feel like this is the ultimate team of don't give the ball back, Saquon and the offensive line.
So no interceptions for Jalen Hurts in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't think Saquon's fumbled. That's what they've done. So kind of to your point, can I give you some Fangio numbers I found that were really exciting to me? This year, when the Eagles play on turf, it's the weirdest thing, but it kind of makes sense because they have great team speed on the defensive side. When they play on turf this year, they're 5-0. Opponents' point per game, 11. Yards per game, 211. Yards per play, 3.7. Their 11 yards per game. Their 11 yards per game are the lowest by far this year. They're allowing 11 points per game in the turf. The next best one are the Chargers at 18. So that's kind of an interesting niche. It's the Chiefs, and they can, it's funny, where they're going to be referred to as an elite offense, even though they didn't have an elite offensive year. But we just all know they can still get there.
Yeah.
And so take those numbers as you will. I don't think there's something that you should hang your hat on. But it's an interesting thing. The Eagles' numbers on turf this year, Fangio, which I kind of feel Fangio is one of the least talked about things in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of spags.
Yeah, Andy Reid talked about him a lot because obviously they've played together. They've both been in the league forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because I think there's more questions about the Chiefs' defense than there's about the Eagles' defense. The Chiefs' defense has Chris Jones, McDuffie and Bolton, but besides that, and then Reid. Besides that, it's kind of guys that kind of just play above their level, but the Eagles have actual stars.
Right. Andrew, you got one?
Yeah. So I think kind of to piggyback on you, first of all, I just want to let you know, here's an interesting stat. For both teams, Chiefs are 9-0 when scoring first. Eagles 8-1 when scoring first.
Jeez.
So
get on the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
Field goal or anything.
I think, to be honest, this is going to be a high scoring game. The last 2 games for both teams, listen to this. So the Eagles obviously scoring 55 the last game.
Yes, sir.
55, and then 28 before that, 22 before that.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty consistent in scoring in the playoffs. Obviously, Saquon's been insane.
Yeah.
7 yards a carry. KC, 32 points last game, 23 points last game. I think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game.
Yeah.
I think the key is which defense is going to be able to pull off the biggest play to change the game. Who's going to be able to create a turnover? Both teams haven't seemed to have any turnover issues in the playoffs.
Right.
So I think the key is which defense can make that big play and change the game.
Yeah, that reminds me of the last time Eagles.
Exactly.
Literally last time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a pretty close game last time.
Yeah.
We've talked about how Hurts, played so well, but really the play that changed that game was the Jalen Hurts fumble and turnover.
Exactly.
Like, everything was going great for the Eagles, and just out of nowhere, he turns the ball over. I think one of the linebackers recovered it, or I forgot who recovered it, but that kind of was the not deciding factor, but kind of a momentum shifter.
Yeah, it feels like both teams got to play perfect because of the defenses and because of the court and because the offenses on both sides. We hype up the Eagles' offense a lot, and like the Chiefs are on paper, it's not an elite defense, but like you said, or an elite offense. But like you said, it's Patrick Mahomes. The fourth quarter, he'll just turn it on. You don't really know where. And like we said earlier, what if Hopkins starts getting hot? What if Hollywood Brown starts getting hot? Because Hollywood Brown's very capable of that.
Let me go ahead and segue into my next one then. That is, I have a weird feeling about DeAndre Hopkins and Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so Andy Reid and it's so Kansas City Chiefs to unleash DeAndre Hopkins in the first half against the Eagles.
Yeah.
To just draw up like game plans around DeAndre Hopkins. Let me read you some DeAndre Hopkins numbers. 437 yards on the season, 4 touchdowns in 10 regular season games. In the playoffs, 1 catch for 11 yards in 2 games. Hasn't gone over 37 yards since November. Like, he's been basically a non-factor, and yet here I am 2 nights before the Super Bowl, and I'm like, holy crap, what if they unleash DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah.
Because you feel like he can get there. Even more scary, Hollywood Brown's basically the same thing, except he's actually closer to his prime.
Yeah.
You can actually see him doing that.
Yeah, and then with the Fangio defense, it's all like makes you be patient.
Yeah.
And Hopkins and Kelsey could just sit right there in the empty zones and kind of, pick their spots.
So I want to talk about that. Let me ask you. So obviously the Fangio defense and from being in Denver, and we've talked about a lot this year. He wants to make you dink and dunk your way down the field, no big plays, and his whole philosophy is he's going to make you have these long drives, and you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Or you're going to turn the ball over. The Eagles are going to take an opportunity to turn the ball over, wherever it is. But now you have Patrick Mahomes, who I feel like can dink and dunk. He's so savvy and he's so
been
quick.
doing that, yeah.
I don't know who has the advantage there.
Yeah, it's interesting because
With the style of play, I mean.
Yeah, because Fangio has been running the same defense. It's a Fangio. The whole league does a Fangio.
They try
defense.
to do it.
Yeah, they try to do it. Yeah, he's been such an influence on defensive things where like 2 men back, just kind of do like a shell defense.
Yep.
But Mahomes, we forget once Tyreek Hill left, he's been doing this.
That's what he's been.
He's lived in this area.
You're right.
That's why the record's it's 1-7 because like it fits right into what Mahomes does. It's not almost like doesn't even bother him. Like I was gonna do this anyway. Yeah. So thanks for just make it easier.
Right.
So my thing is like, can the old ball coach, can Fangio do something creative? Like he's not gonna change the mega stuff.
Yeah.
But something he's had to create a turnover, something because Mahomes is good against his defense. This type of defense.
Something to keep an eye on too is if with that being said, the type of defense that the Eagles are going to play and how we think it's going to affect the offense in the red zone.
Yeah.
Can the Chiefs turn field goals into touchdowns when they get into that red area? When the Eagles want to just settle for a field goal and are perfectly happy for Harrison Butker ending every single drive.
Yeah.
Can Patrick Mahomes be great enough and Travis Kelce and the play design of Andy Reid, can they turn those into touchdowns? Because I think that's another huge point of this game.
Yeah, it's. Speaking of Kelce, we have to talk about his legacy after this game, but yeah, it's the Chiefs are weird because like they should not like this should be a blowout. Like this should be what Buffalo did to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Like 33-10 or 30. It should be that.
And in the regular season, I would even expect it.
Yeah, like if it was like week 10, I'd like Eagles are gonna blow them out.
Yeah.
Because Chiefs play to the level, but this level of the Eagles is different from every other team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like we've seen that throughout the whole year. We thought the Lions and the Eagles were the same, apparently not. We thought the Vikings and the Eagles were the same, apparently not. This is the Eagles that have been doing this 1 through 18 and then in the playoffs. I don't know if the Chiefs have the gear shifter to get to the Eagles level. Like Andrew thinks it's gonna be a shootout, which but can they really outgun the Eagles? Like there's so much Eagles have.
Over under is 48.5. What do you think?
I don't think the Chiefs score a lot.
I don't think either of them score a lot.
I think Eagles got off. I think Eagles second half like just lead.
I don't think it's like a 13-16 game, but I don't think anyone touches 30. And I would definitely take the under on 48.5. Like personally, I think that's I think Steve Spagnuolo is just a great, regardless of the numbers we read, and I obviously I'm excited about them, especially the rushing numbers you read.
Yeah.
He's just such a great big game coordinator. He's been doing this for so long. He's been so many Super Bowls. and it's almost unfair to have him at Andy Reid's side in a game like this. But yet, I just feel like he's going to find a way to not shut down Saquon, but I'd be so surprised if we see the same Saquon that ran all over the Commanders. And
actually, I was wrong. The Chiefs are 8-0 against Fangio.
There you go.
Sorry.
There you go. Great.
Sorry, I thought I had that wrong, but yeah,
I think it's a lower scoring game. It comes down to turnovers and about 49 seconds of big game turning plays. Is it going to be a holding call against Juju Smith-Schuster and James Bradbury like last year? Jalen Hurts fumble, or for the Eagles, are we going to tell stories about the Philly special and the Brandon Graham sack? It's that minute to minute and a half of clutch primetime plays, which is nerve-wracking because that's who Patrick Mahomes is.
But if there's ever a team that could run a clock out, it's Philly. Because literally, if you give them 4th and 2nd, that's a first down.
Yeah.
So you they're gonna constantly do it because no one's been able to stop it the tush push successfully ever since it's creation. So if the Eagles have it within 4 or 5 minutes, they're gonna just keep they have 4 downs because they will not punt it. Well, and if Sirianni does punt it, that's out of character for Sirianni and this team. They're gonna go for a 4th down.
Well, that's another interesting point I've been thinking of, and I brought it up in the last show in the position by position analysis. And if you haven't seen that yet, we broke it down to individual clips. Even we did position versus position, Chiefs, Eagles. Go check that out. But one of them was I'm just on my mind is the kickers.
Yeah,
Harrison Butker is statistically the most accurate kicker in NFL history in the playoffs.
Yeah,
he's clutch. I think he's only missed 1 field goal this year over 50 yards. Yeah. Whereas Jake Elliott has made 1 field goal over 50 yards all season.
Yeah. No, you don't. Honestly, in that case, if I was Philly, I would do everything in my power to keep him off the field.
Well, I think that's what Angel's talking about. Exactly. They just
get it 4th and 2. We'll tush push it.
And that has so many different benefits for the Eagles.
Yeah.
They keep Jake Elliott off the field, and they obviously have they keep drives going.
And they keep Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's just. Last time they played, there was no Saquon. And if you think Saquon doesn't make a difference, you're lying. I'm telling you, Saquon's going to – I said I feel he's going to set some records. He's going to do something special.
He's by far the best player that is added to this game as opposed to last Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the Chiefs, right? I know.
Has anyone greater been added to this game?
Chiefs are tough because, they've lost players and they gained Kareem Hunt, Hopkins.
Yeah.
They've lost Snead since then. Obviously, but Bolton's emerged to a better player, obviously, and then Karlaftis is better. But it's the Eagles, they're better. They didn't have Quinton Mitchell. They didn't have Cooper DeJean, and obviously they didn't have Saquon Barkley, which is different. It's a different team with those 3 guys, just them.
Yeah. And think about coaching, too. It's even with Vic Fangio being on this team, whereas in the last matchup.
Oh, God,
yeah. Look at the defensive change. And like you said, Saquon being there. I think the Eagles have the team that could have beat the last Chiefs team, and more so this time.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Fangio being this one as opposed to the last one because I can't remember the coach of the Cardinals
Gannon.
Gannon, I think reached. I don't want to say exposing that because he's a fine defensive coordinator, but I think he reached his limits. I think he was schooled a little bit by Spags last time.
Even after that,
in the play design,
we were questioning whether he should be head coach after that.
So now a lot of confidence. Now this is Spags.
It's a pro.
Yeah, there's a pro. He's seen everything that they're going to face. Fangio has seen it. It's just can they execute?
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to bring up? I have one more thing.
No.
This is a legacy thing. I know we had a Travis Kelce conversation, but I was thinking this is and there's an ego thing, but so bear with me. But this is such an important game to Jalen Hurts' legacy. It's massive because if you are in 2 Super Bowls and you win one, that it makes the first loss much less because you're like, well, I've been to 2 Super Bowls, I've won one already.
It honestly negates the first one.
It almost does.
Yeah.
It almost becomes a positive. I've been to 2.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you lose one, and you're 0-2,
you become Brock Purdy.
Well, you become whoa, is this the weak link? Is this the stacked roster and they can't win a Super Bowl? Is it Jalen Hurts' fault?
Yeah, you quickly become Purdy, Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, those guys who got to Super Bowls and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Look at Stafford. It's a perfect example. His whole career, great stats. He got in the Super Bowl and won one. You literally don't care about how many picks he's thrown, how much games he's missed because of injury, because he's won a championship.
It's massive Jalen Hurts because the narrative out there is he's the weak link. He can't throw the ball. He's carried by a roster. He's carried by Saquon. All the different nonsense that's out there. If you believe that, more power to you. But if they can find a way to win this game and he plays really well, it's going to do wonders. 1 of 2 Super Bowls. And then the start of his career is off to a very different start because now you've been to Super Bowls. You're a Super Bowl champion. I don't think you're 26 yet. Yeah. If you have another 5 years like that, we're starting to talk Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like it's
starting.
But I'm saying if you grab another, that's what you do in your first 5 years, and you have another 5 years like that. You're 2 Super Bowls, and you've been to 3 or 4 or whatever. We're starting to talk like, okay, this is a real Hall of Fame type guy. So it's interesting how pivotal it is for Jalen Hurts. Whereas Patrick Mahomes, I don't think it affects his legacy if he wins or loses this one, right? I mean, the three-peat thing is a big legacy thing, but no one's going to be down on Patrick Mahomes if he loses Super Bowl.
No, I think, even to your point, I mean, honestly, I understand what you're saying about it being kind of a legacy game, but the first Super Bowl he was in, he played, fantastic. I mean, I get the fumble, but to be honest, like we talked about in a previous episode, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes the first time they played.
Yeah. So, I'm not talking about, reality. I'm talking about the narrative of it.
The narrative. Okay. Yeah, in that case, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
To me, as a Jalen Hurts fan, I would argue with you all day. Like, no, I think most people are off on Jalen Hurts. Even this week, people are just so Chris Sims and a lot of the ESPN guys are just like, oh, well, Jalen Hurts obviously the weak link. All this stuff that he's faced his whole career. That's just going to be the narrative on him. That's who people see him as.
Real quick, let's flip the side. So Mahomes obviously legacy doesn't hurt if he loses. If he wins, that's 4 championships, 1 a three-peat.
Yeah.
He's tying Brady he's staying on par with Brady as far as championships and time frames.
Yeah.
He's got to play a long time. Is it close?
I don't think it does much more. It's almost like the rich getting. It's like a millionaire who's like, that millionaire. You know what he did this year? He made another million.
Asking.
No, not that. No, I'm talking about him versus Brady. I'm not saying Mahomes
versus Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a step in the right direction. He for the first time does something Brady didn't do.
Yeah.
And that's a three-peat. No one has done it. I think only 2 other teams have even been to 3 Super Bowls in a row. I think the Dolphins and the Bills. The Bills have went to 4, but so I think he's already done in going to 3. It's big. In winning 3, I think he finally has something that Brady didn't do.
Yeah.
And if he can catch him in overall Super Bowls and then make up some of these stats, I think he's well on his way to most GOAT conversations.
It's just fun because if he wins this game, you're just like this. We had 0 time to rest between GOATs. It was literally 0. Because remember, it was Montana for about 3 decades. It was just Montana.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then
and
Brady
we just believed it, sure. Never.
Yeah, sure. He's the greatest of all time. Sure. And then Brady came like, oh, this is greatest of all time.
Right.
Then immediately after, they played against Super Bowl, and obviously Brady won. But still, it's just funny how it's so quick.
I feel like that's always going to be something, though. Even if he becomes the consensus sports media GOAT, which he probably doesn't even care about, but even if we start saying that, I feel like the fact that he never beat Brady is gonna always be a little thing in him.
And he had.
I want to be like if LeBron never, beat Kobe, that we never got to see it. But you know what I'm saying? In the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, LeBron will be the best, but I don't think he would have beat Kobe.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt his argument if you try to argue him against Brady. He's he has more than Brady, but he lost to Brady
when they played.
Literally, you want to see head to head. And this one that wasn't even Brady's best team.
Yeah,
that wasn't without Belichick. That was with
Bucks.
That was with Bruce Arians.
He was 40-something years old.
40-something years old. He had Antonio Brown like an old CTE version.
Andrew, what's up?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think as far as GOAT talk, I think regardless until he either ties him or passes him in Super Bowl wins, he you can't really consider him the GOAT, even with the 3-peat, to be honest. But
I think most people would be with you with that.
Yeah,
he has a little work to do, but this is a good step.
But on your point, if he at least ties him, or if he gets ahead of him, even I don't really think people will consider the loss anymore. The loss against Brady a few years back, if he's able to tie him or pass it.
Brady is 7, right?
Well, that's what I was saying.
Crazy.
I think he'll win the public argument, but I think to him, the fact that he didn't beat Brady would
he would need to get 8.
Because if you hear him talk about it, that's what I know. It's crazy. If you hear
because Brady has 7.
If you hear him talk about it though, that's what he always brings up. Tom beat me when it was head-to-head.
Yeah,
damn.
That's why you need to get one more ring to justify the loss to Brady.
It probably pisses him off.
I'm sure it does. Anything else?
Well, since we're on it, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, there's so many legends on one side of the field. Andy Reid will emerge into probably my greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's already the best tight end of all time. It's ridiculous that people don't think that.
Well, Andrew doesn't think it.
You don't think
Andrew's got Gronk.
No, I think Travis Kelce's the most accomplished tight end of all time, but I think Gronk is the most complete tight end of all time as far as overall tight end ability.
Yeah, I mean, so we put you made a reel about this week, and that was some of the chat talk. Is that Travis Kelce's a receiver, he's not a blocker, he's not this and that. The offense has kind of aided his stats, and so he's more accomplished. Yeah. But I think a lot of people would take Gronk still, and as I'm kind of with you, like to me, it's Travis Kelce, not even a question. It just a lot of people do give. It's almost like the eye test to Gronk.
Yeah,
like he was more like of a dominant type player.
Yeah, I compare him to Shaq. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Shaq probably is the greatest of all time, but people think, oh, he's the greatest player because he was so dominant. He was so physically, and that's exactly what Gronk. Gronk was a freak of nature.
It's just at some point the numbers got to matter when they're skewed so heavy in Kelce's favor.
The only one that's against it is 92 touchdowns for Gronk to 77 for Kelce.
Right.
But Kelce already said he's playing a couple more years.
Yeah.
My
You
home
believe that?
Yeah, I believe that. I think they're gonna. I think they play till the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even like this game, it's one that's 78. Besides that, there's like 400 yards. It's like 1,000-something catches for Kelce. There's 600-something for Gronk. That's a big ass margin.
Right.
And then games played. Obviously, Gronk didn't play the full career, retired early. That can't be held against Kelce. That was Gronk's choice. That's not
right.
People kind of get that mixed up too.
Gronk should have come back.
I honestly think Kelce's the best tight end of all time. Like I don't think there's ever been a tight end where he's been this good, this dominant for so long.
Anything else on Gronk before we talk about Andy Reid?
No, I love Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, I think if he wins this game, I think
I'll start calling him.
He'll be there for me. But yet I would understand if people aren't there yet.
Yeah, it's more preference, like what you believe in. Because they both had the greatest quarterbacks of all time, maybe 1 and 2.
You know what doesn't look good is that, I mean, Andy Reid was pretty successful without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He went through 4 straight NFC Championship games with the Eagles.
Yeah.
He was already like Bill Belichick wasn't very good before or after Tom Brady. Yep. So maybe that starts to creep into the conversation. Like, well, we've seen both of them without their GOAT quarterback, and one of them was much better than the other.
One went to college, and the other one's still coaching the NFL.
But he's dating a 24-year-old.
Yeah, so he's winning in other
they're both
sides. Yeah, they're both winning, just at different venues.
Any other Super Bowl thoughts, guys? Last time before the big game?
No. Looking forward to seeing the ads. Looking forward to seeing. I want some New Orleans culture in the
we'll get it
in halftime or something. I want to be able to feel New Orleans.
Yeah, they gotta learn how to mic up those trumpets though, because that media day trumpet show was
pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
And also those trumpeters, those high school kids. God bless them, but there's difference. There's difference between Jimmy from down the street to Tom from the premier band.
All right, let's only one thing left to do. Let's do our picks.
Andrew, go first.
Like let's finish with you. Because I feel like we know who I'm going to pick.
Okay.
And then Andrew, I feel like you're really wrestling with it.
Yeah.
Andrew, who you got?
Yeah, I think this is the year that the Eagles overcome the hump, and I think they beat the Chiefs in a high scoring game in my opinion.
Okay, Andrew has the Eagles. I'm going to take big surprise. I'm taking the Eagles. I just think they're the better team, and I said that against the Commanders, and that's what I hung my hat on. At the end of the day, as flashy as Jaden Daniels was, and obviously different leagues, Jaden Daniels and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, but same thought process, same logic. They're just a better team. Statistically, when you look at the roster, we did that. They're just better, and I think Jalen Hurts has so much to prove this game, and I just trust him every time he's been in that position. Saquon's the best player on either side in this game, I think, on Sunday, and I just think Eagles are going to win this one, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if they beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, this was someone like the beginning of the week. I had Chiefs like Chiefs gonna win it. They'll find a way. You dig into the numbers, you get to what the Eagles do well, and what the Chiefs do well, and what both sides had to play for. Obviously, legacy on the Chiefs side, and the desire to win the first one for Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley, all that. It's a sweep. I don't know if it's bad luck for the Eagles, but I'm going Philly as well. I just don't think the Chiefs are going to have an answer with Saquon Barkley and this offensive line. I think it's such an X factor. It's probably the greatest combo of offensive line running back we've seen since whoever blocked for LT and whoever blocked for Adrian Peterson. It doesn't fucking matter. Because these guys. They literally lost almost their best lineman last year, and they're just as good. I'm talking about the Phillies offensive line. Jason Kelce leaves. Jurgens fits right in. It's the same offensive line. Right. It's the same type of style.
Right.
It's just Johnson, Mailata, the best tackles in the game. Dickerson, Becton, huge fucking humans.
Yep.
run blocking, and then Jurgens in the middle is just. I don't think the Chiefs have enough depth to keep up with them. In a 4-quarter matchup. Like I think in the fourth quarter, they're just gonna lean on them. Then you have Saquon Barkley, who might be the best athlete at running back we've ever seen since probably Walter Payton.
Yeah,
like he's the phenomenal athlete and also good running back. We forget because he jumped over a guy backwards this year. Yeah. We forget running backs don't do look at AJ Pearson run, great running back. Yeah. Look at him. Look at Saquon. It's a different style. Like they're both good. One's a better. I just think it's the best combo I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'll put the rest of our picks up on the screen right now. The picks that I do know at this moment: Chuck Liddell picking the Eagles.
Chuck, hey, what's up, Chuck?
Friend
of the show.
Big Smitty, Darnell Smith from the JB show with Big Smitty picking the Chiefs, even though he wanted to pick the Eagles.
Big Smitty, yeah.
He said he's pulling for the Eagles, but his money's gonna be on the Chiefs.
Yeah, he's following his heart. You can't blame him. Yeah. It's Patrick Mahomes.
And then the rest of the picks are up here on the screen.
Any David Tyree moments? Any moments you think of that can happen? Like.
Who the special player?
Call your shot for a weird player. Yeah.
Okay.
What if Jahan Dotson just?
That's where I was going.
What if Jahan Dotson just?
Here's why I think that I was going to pick that guy too. If you look at the Eagles' last couple of Super Bowls with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, they've had a moment where they've had to rely on that third guy. Even go back to the Alshon Jeffrey, Nick Foles Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar went off that game, the third receiver. You look at the last Super Bowl, a huge drop by Quez Watkins that could have won the game for the Eagles. Deep put him in the red zone late in the game. A huge drop by Quez Watkins, at that time the third receiver. Jahan Dotson is going to have a hand in this game. Yeah. He's going to be called on at some point to make a play.
You're calling Jahan Dotson.
And can he make that play when he's called on? Yeah. Jahan Dotson's my guy. On the Chiefs side, I already said it, DeAndre Hopkins.
I have a sneaky feeling that Marquise Brown's going to do something stupid.
Him too.
Stupid, I mean stupid good.
Yeah.
Because people forget, he's a very good wideout. Yep. He came back because he had a weird clavicle or chest injury. He's a very good wideout. And I think, like I said earlier, it just takes one play to swing one deep shot, one whatever. He's a good athlete. He's fast.
Who would you pick on the Eagles?
I was going to put special teams like Isaiah Rodgers, Cooper DeJean.
Oh, a big special teams player.
Special teams. Yeah, it's always these weird plays that end up,
It's not a bad pick because the Eagles have made some massive. You think about the Packers, the first play of the game.
Exactly.
The fumble by Keyshawn Nixon, a very good return man.
And Eagles, knock on wood, have a good special teams unit. So, kind of lean that way.
Woo! I could smell it. Super Bowl is a couple days away. That is all for episode 213. That is all for the 2024-2025 season.
Yeah, hey.
After this show, we get into major draft prep. So make sure you follow the show for that. What do you have?
No, I'm just saying, sit back, enjoy friends and family, enjoy the last game of football.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while. You're down for
the long night.
It's down for the long night. We have draft stuff. We have a lot of stuff. I actually love the offseason, actually, because free agency, draft stuff. Then you get into all the speculation and lists and all that tiers. And Bo Nix is one day closer from coming back to the NFL, our sweet baby lamb.
We'll see you Monday. I'll either be a very excited or a very sad host. Either way, we'll see you Monday with a brand new episode. Super Bowl recap, episode 214. Pretty much everyone back in the house. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend, great Super Bowl weekend. Get together, friends, family, food, betting. Download BETR Picks. See you then. Bye.
Peace.